You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and joining me for a prospect interview today, I'm very excited about this guest, UNLV Linebacker Austin Ajiake. How you doing today, Austin?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed. Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. Thank you for coming on. And for all you guys tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button. But for now, we're just going to get right into the questions here. Austin, take me back to your time in high school. You know, I know you went to Bellarmine Prep, that's down in San Jose. You played some outside linebacker, which is not exactly shocking, but you also played some running back, right? So in your senior year, you ran for 1,168 yards, 11 touchdowns. Like, that's pretty crazy. Do you feel like having played running back makes you a better linebacker today, you know, having that same vision and mindset of a running back, but really from the opposite side?
Yeah, no, 100%. And like you said, you know, I kind of treat linebacker as running back, but just from the other side. You know, both positions are primarily about 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Both positions include a lot of lateral movement, and then you know, coming downhill, and whether you're making a tackle or trying to make somebody miss, there's a lot of similarities between the two positions. And a lot of what I learned and acquired over time as a running back, you know, has helped me on the other side of the ball, just understanding offenses, tendencies, and then, you know, I kind of have a good idea of how people want to try to break tackles, whether they're a stiff arm or juke or hurdle, whatever their go-to move is. You know, I kind of experimented with a lot of it as running back, so it helps me play one step ahead for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And it's no wonder that you've been successful playing both positions. But you spent your entire collegiate career at UNLV. Was there a year where you felt like you really came into your own as a player and, you know, the game just started to slow down for you?
Yeah. So it was 2021 is when things started to really come together. I had a lot of things go on. That was the year after my daughter was born, right after the whole COVID quarantine. So that's kind of when things started coming together personally first, and then once that happened, you know, the football part just came second. It was natural at that point. But you know, I think playing linebacker specifically is it's a big jump, and it's a big transition period to learn, you know, an entire side of the ball and to learn coverages and, you know, stuff like that. So it took me a while. In my first 3 years at UNLV, I started on all special teams, and, you know, that was kind of where I found my time on the field. But I really enjoyed playing special teams, and I took pride in that being my role. And then when it was time to step up and play linebacker, you know, I was ready. So, you know, I'm looking forward to this next step in my career now.
For sure. And I'm not at all surprised that you mentioned 2021 as a season where it all kind of came together, because at the end of the year, you were named a defensive MVP and a defensive captain, right? So definitely makes sense. But, you know, there's so much that makes a great linebacker, right? From the recognition, you know, taking the right angles, ability to go sideline to sideline. What is one skill set of yours that you pride yourself most in?
I mean, I think my athleticism is what kind of separates me from a lot of different linebackers. And like you mentioned, my ability to go sideline to sideline and to, you know, play fast at all times. But I think really what makes a good linebacker, a great linebacker, is just their habits off the field, their film study. You know, it kind of helps with that recognition. The quicker you see a play develop, the quicker you can diagnose what it is, the quicker you can react. So, you know, you could be a 4.8 guy, but you look faster just because of, you know, just the way that you diagnose the play, what's going on right in front of you. So I think that's one of my biggest characteristics that's allowed me to have the success so far. Obviously, I know the speed of the game is always going to increase at every level, but I'm looking forward to, you know, having my eyes and you know, we always say as linebackers, your feet are going to go where your eyes take you. So the quicker you can diagnose, the faster you're going to look. And, you know, that all comes from film study and creating those habits off the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Because taking the wrong angle or making the wrong read could set you back milliseconds, and that could be the difference between making the play and not. Right. So when it comes to film study, what are some of the things that you look for in your opponent?
Yeah, so like you just said, it's a game of seconds, it's a game of inches, and each step is crucial. And you take one false step, and next thing it's a blown coverage or you're in the wrong gap. So everything, nothing goes without being coached. But I think for me in my film study, especially during the season, I watch a little bit of film during the off season, but during the off season is the time, to physically get right. Obviously, you want to improve the mental too. So, but during the season is 2 hours a day outside of the meetings and stuff. I'm doing film breakdowns. Early in the week, I might be doing first and second down, or doing a run breakdown. Towards the end of the week, you start getting into third down and some of the pass concept they're looking for. But really, what I'm looking for when I'm watching film is just for tendencies. I'm trying to find personnel. When this specific personnel is in, when they have this tight end in, they tend to run the ball 86% of the time. And that's just something that should go into the game, keep it in the back of your mind, so that when you see those things that you watched on film, you have an idea of what's going on. And like I was mentioning earlier, that alone allows you to play that couple steps faster just with information like that. So I'm always just trying to pick up on tendencies and trying to see what the offense is trying to do to the defense.
For sure. And as you were, giving that answer, I remembered this play you had last year against Idaho State, that interception where you read the screen like perfectly. Do you remember that play?
Yeah, and I could tell you exactly
Yeah,
what
walk us
what
through
made me.
that one a bit. Like, what were you seeing that made you, read that so perfectly?
Yeah, so for that game specifically, but also for a lot of offenses, a big screen giveaway is when the center and the running back block on the same time on the same side. Normally, the center goes one way and the running back goes the other, and that kind of balances out the protection. But whenever you see them go to the same side, especially for that team, but for a lot of other teams, the screen was coming. So, it's just one of the keys that I picked up throughout the week doing my film study, and I knew they were a big screen team, especially early in the game, and I saw the center and running back go to the same side, and I immediately already knew what was coming. So, luckily the ball just landed right in my hands, and I didn't have to work that hard for it. But yeah.
Yeah, well, when you're making the right reads, when you're recognizing the right stuff, I mean, the ball will just sort of fall into your hands, right? That
Yeah.
tends to happen. If you had to describe your style of play with one word, what would that word be?
Um, I'm gonna say style bender. That's a little shout out to one of my favorite UFC fighters, Izzy. But also just I think I'm not I'm not necessarily the big run stopper. I have a little bit of everything in my game. I'm not I don't think I pride myself in being diverse and being versatile and being able to cover receivers, but then also play in the box and shed guards off me. So I would say just a style bender because I include all different types of style into my game, and I think that's what makes me kind of different than the rest of the linebackers coming out.
For sure, I like that. That's definitely a unique answer. Like, I don't think anyone would have would have mentioned like a word like that. Well, you were invited to the Hula Bowl. Then, shortly after, you were auditioned to the Shrine Bowl. Congrats on those accomplishments, by the way.
Thank you.
How did it feel for you to get those invites?
It felt good, just to see my hard work and my play from the season get noticed. And then, for me, it was just really an opportunity on a bigger stage just to go and show what I'm capable of. And, both games I had a good showing, and I met a lot of different people, and I got lot of crucial coaching. And, overall, both experiences were great. And, that's just another part of the postseason going into the draft process is, you have your season, you have the All-Star games, pro day prep, and then after that, the rest, the haze in the barn. But I was really looking forward to the All-Star games, and I enjoyed both for different reasons. And I think it's the opportunity that if you're able to, if the opportunity presents itself, I definitely think as a potential draft pick, that's something that you want to do.
Right. I mean, I feel like it's an accomplishment to just get one invite in itself, and then you over here getting two. So that is definitely, speaks to how you impress some folks out there. How special was it for you to be able to play at the Shrine Bowl in Vegas, where you played your collegiate career?
It was super special, and I mean, it was a little of a weird feeling because we were in the opposite team locker room, so I had to adjust to that. But Vegas is my home now, and I had a great past 5 years at UNLV. Excuse me, but just being in the stadium again was great. Just to be out there and back on the home turf, I felt really comfortable just being back in that stadium. Like I said, it's my second home, so. Whatever happens after this, if I get a chance to play there on the Raiders or against the Raiders, it's going to be a special moment for me. So, that's just it was a great opportunity to go out there with a different team, but the same goal to dominate.
Right, for sure. And I know for a lot of prospects, these all-star bowl games are kind of like their first introduction to NFL style coaching. Did you kind of get that sense? Like, was there anything that struck you as being a big adjustment or something you noticed that was different from UNLV?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of different coaches at UNLV, just with a lot of turnover between head coaches and DCs. So I've experienced quite a bit of different coaching styles, and the East West and the Hula Bowl were just more examples of that. I mean, obviously now you're getting coached by either NFL coaches or former NFL coaches. So it was, just picking their brains and seeing how they see the game and trying to take up and soak up as much knowledge as possible was kind of my mindset going into both games. And, I learned a lot from both coaching staffs. And, I'm looking forward to just continuing to learn more from whoever I'm coached by next.
Well, we talked about the bowl games. That's one part of the pre-draft process. The next is pro day, right? And you did run some track, I know, as well in high school, right? So, do you feel like that track background really helped you prepare for your pro day? Because a lot of that is based on speed testing, things like that. So, do you feel like that gave you a bit of an edge?
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I was a track star. I ran track to get faster for football. So that was, but I did run it for 2 years, and a lot of the coaching points and a lot of the technique and form and stuff like that we were being coached on the 40, it wasn't my first time hearing it. And I think that kind of gave me a little bit of an advantage because I was a little familiar with, just the form and, like I was saying, just the technique and generating your power and pushing off your big toe and just little nuggets like that the average person probably won't necessarily hear going about their day. But because I ran track, I was able to hear it a second time for pro day, and it might have helped me. I think for sure it helped me.
And how did you feel like you did overall? Like, were you pretty happy with your results?
Yeah, I was definitely happy with the way I performed. I was definitely prepared, and I got to shout out LV SP for getting me ready. That's where I trained at down here in Vegas. But I went into it, and obviously you're a little nervous, but the preparation that you did leading up to it kind of takes away from the nerves. I've been training for pro day for 3 months going into the actual day of the event. So nothing was new. We knew exactly what we were going to get tested on. There was nobody trying to trick you. We're jumping, running the 40, we're benching, and we're doing the shuttle and the L. So I knew going into it what it was going to be like, and I just tried to prepare myself as best as possible, and I'm pretty happy with the results.
So at this point, teams have been able to see you a variety of different ways, right? The tape at UNLV, the All-Star games we were talking about, and then the pro day. What have been teams' feedback for you so far throughout this process?
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things from teams overall. They like the way that I play, and like I was mentioning, just kind of my versatility and my ability to finish tackles, to shed blocks, to play 15 yards back in coverage, and so that's kind of what I've been hearing. I've been looking forward to just talking to these teams and kind of just picking their brains and seeing how the organization carries itself and seeing from top to bottom, are people being treated right do people enjoy coming to work every day? Because those are things that I'm trying to consider, because it's, whatever organization I go to, that's going to be my job for however long. So, just making sure that, the things that I value are also things that they value. And that's kind of what I've been feeling so far from the teams that I've been talking to. And, I'm just trying to take in this process one day at a time. You can't really get too far ahead of yourself, but, just enjoying every moment of it.
For sure. That's a great point. Like I'm glad you mentioned that as well about, it being the right fit for you too, cuz
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you're able to make that decision for yourself, it's got to be one you feel good about, right? So,
Right.
glad you mentioned that. What has been some feedback that you've had for yourself? Like, what's something that you've like self-identified as something you want to improve on before getting to the next level?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm well aware that, draft day happens and, it's a time to celebrate, but that's just the beginning. And there's going to be a whole lot of work that needs to be done to get me to where I want to be. So I think just my main emphasis this offseason just been, my striking and my pad level were two things that I identified throughout the film that I wanted to improve upon. So, 15 minutes a day, just striking the little strike pad in the weight room. It doesn't take a lot, but over time that adds up and accumulates. And 15 minutes a day turns into an hour a week, and you do it for several months. It adds up. So, each offseason I try to attack a different part of my game, and there's always room to improve. No one's a complete player, and the goal is to be as close to that as possible.
Now we're 10 days away from the draft. I know this is a very busy time for you. Do you have any meetings or visits coming up?
Yeah, so I was just over there in Santa Clara for the local pro day, the local day, and that went well. I had a good workout, and then I got a chance to meet with some of the coaches afterwards.
Nice.
2 days later, I was back in Vegas, and I was doing the same thing with the Raiders. Met with their head coach as well, which was cool. And then I've had some Zooms over the weeks, and some different phone calls with different teams. I probably talked to maybe 10 to 12 different teams total, like actual, conversation. But, I'm just looking forward to just seeing what happens. Obviously, a lot of it at this point is out of my control, but I think I did a pretty good job with this entire process overall and putting myself in the best position possible.
Yeah, and it's not like exactly shocking that both the 49ers and the Raiders are among the teams that have interest in you, right? There's definitely
Yeah.
some connections to both. Which team were you a fan of growing up?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, okay. I was like, he left.
No. So I got to give you a little bit of background before I answer this question. My
Okay.
mom, big time Niner fan from going back Joe Montana days, used to listen on the radio, grew up in Northern California, the whole deal. So obviously growing up, I had to be a Raider fan just to compete against my mom, and I couldn't like the same team she liked. So me and my brothers we were Raider fans. We also, growing up in Fremont, California, which is the East Bay, so we were closer to Oakland. So that was my team growing up. But obviously, Bay Area roots. I've always supported the Niners, and I've always, if it was Raiders didn't make a lot of playoffs growing up, so if the Niners were on, I was supporting them because, Bay Area roots. So yeah.
See, I knew when you said I got to give you some background. I knew it wasn't going to be the Niners.
Yeah,
You're
nah.
setting me up.
But
No, I totally understand. I totally get it. I mean, Fremont, yeah, that's the East Bay. Pretty much everyone in the East Bay grew up a Raider fan for the
yeah, but
most
some of
part.
my favorite linebackers were Niners. Pat Willis and Navarro Bowman, and that whole team was elite. So I did enjoy watching them growing up too.
Yeah, man. And now they got Fred now. So man, yeah, they've been blessed with some good
Yeah,
linebackers.
for sure.
Now, as I mentioned, the draft 10 days away. What are your draft plans at this point? You gonna be in Vegas or in the Bay? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm gonna be here in Vegas. I got my fiance and my 3-year-old daughter here, so this is pretty much our home now. My family's gonna come out and just have a little celebration for the hard work and the dedication and the sacrifices that, I mean, not even just me, but just my entire family. It really takes a village, and I couldn't do this without my support system. So I'm just gonna have just the people who poured into me. I want them to come and celebrate that moment with me because, like I said, there was a lot of sacrifices I went into it, and it's not just me. It's the whole family. So I want everybody to feel, just to feel that moment and just to live it with me.
For sure. I love that. And I'm sure it's all coming together. Like it's all happening real fast now. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're kind of busy with the training and the meetings and all that, but now it's like, whoa, like it's about to happen. So like, how are you staying grounded throughout this process, these last few weeks? Cause I know it's probably getting a little overwhelming at times, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It could be overwhelming, but I really haven't even thought that far into the future. I mean, I really try to take one day at a time, and I'm still training here. My schedule hasn't really changed since before pro day. I'm still on the same lifting and field training that I've been on. So that's really what keeps me grounded, is keeping my schedule and staying with what's been working in the past. As soon as I start forgetting or kind of straying from what's worked, or starting to look too far into the future, that's when you stumble, and that's when it's not going to last that way. So I just been trying to focus on what's gotten me here to this point, and just being with my family and training and keeping my faith a priority has been just the ways that I've kept grounded. But obviously, this is a childhood dream come reality, so I don't want to take away from that. But whatever God has planned for me, whatever team picks me up, they're gonna get a professional on and off the field, and I'm blue collar mentality, just go to work every day and give it my all to the community and to the organization.
I love that. And taking it one day at a time, that's the best way to go for sure. Well,
Yeah.
Austin, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to, talk with us today and let us, get to know you a little bit better. Of course, gonna be, rooting for you these next few weeks, and of course beyond, wherever you end up, gonna be following your journey, man, and rooting for you.
Yeah, of course. No, I appreciate you having me on, and this was fun, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
For sure. All you guys that tuned in, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe if you have not yet. One quick comment here from Draft Guy Jimmy. He said, enjoyed having you at the Hula Bowl. Best of luck in your endeavors.
My guy
Shout
Jimmy.
out, Jimmy. Yeah.
My guy.
Shout out, Jimmy. Shout out all you guys that tuned in. Shout out you, Austin. And best of luck these next few weeks. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate
All
you.
right. All right. But for now, have a good rest of your Monday afternoon, people. Peace.
Peace.